Welcome back to Frugalman Outdoors. Today I'm going to give you a small tour around the property of some of the things that I did in my garden and some of the plants, and also an update on my grass that I put out for sod a couple weeks back. I've had a few requests on updates on the garden and things that we've done around the property, so this is going to be a short video. I'm going to give you a quick walk around. For starters, the tomatoes. They didn't do near as good as I expected. Also, that didn't give them the treatment that I guess I should have. I didn't do anything to the soil, didn't give it any fertilizer, nutrients, anything. All I did was make sure it was watered and tied some up, but they did not do near as good as I expected. I had a lot of people tell me how the nutritious the soil was down here, rich in nutrients, and it was easy to grow everything. So I didn't do any preparations other than putting them in the ground. That was a mistake. So next year I'm going to do what I know to do. I'm going to put fertilizer in the ground and take care of it properly. So that was my mistake for tomato plants. What we have here is a small rose bush. It's actually going to be a memorial rose bush for my wife's mom. That's her bench, and we put a rose bush out here for her. Anyway, this rose bush is doing very well. I don't have any blooms on it right now, but as you see, a lot of this red new sprouts coming off the top here, it is growing very well. I planted this back around, I believe it was April, may have been March, but anyway, this is doing well, and we've had quite a few flowers on it, and we've had a bunch of storms recently, so it's knocked the flowers off that we had on there. But we do have some new sprouts coming through, so I figure probably within a month we'd get some new growth on new flowers on that. Next, what we have here is a cut from a magnolia tree. I was going through the woods and I saw a magnolia tree, and it had one little tiny root that was growing up a new sprout. So I clipped it off and I replanted it in the yard, made sure it had plenty of water. Now the leaves that were on it fell off and dried out pretty bad, and I thought I was going to lose it. But with all the rains that we've had here recently, as you can see, we have new growth. I have a sprout and some leaves coming off of it, so I think I may have got lucky, and we're going to get a new magnolia tree in the yard. I'm not sure how long it takes for these things to grow, but I'm going to see how well this works out. I may do an update on this tree later on. And here's our bird feeding station. We have hummingbird feeders, and we have a small gazebo and a small home that have bird seed in them. Now I don't buy the mixed bird seed, I just buy the sunflower seeds. That's what they normally eat out of the mixed bird seed anyway. They'll push all the other stuff aside to get to the sunflower seeds, so I figured why waste money on the stuff that they don't want and just get them what they're asking for. So I fill these up about once a week. The gazebo looking one actually gets emptied out in about 4 days. And the squirrels try to get up this pole sometimes, and what we'll have to do is we'll come out and put oil, and we use cooking oil so it's not harmful to the squirrels, but we'll put cooking oil on the pole and it'll prevent them from getting up in there. That normally lasts about 3-4 days, and then we have to spray it down again. You don't have to use much, just a little bit around the top so it'll run down and makes it slippery for them. And what we have here are canies, or canas, however you want to pronounce them. We have this one here, there's another one there, and one more down here. I have to get out here and do some weeding, kind of get them cleared out around it so we can see them better. But they're doing a lot better. We've had a lot of rain. I was afraid I was going to lose them when I first put them in the ground. I couldn't get them enough water. They were very thirsty. And now that we've had a lot of rain, they're doing really good. They greened up nice and full. And then right next to it we have the banana tree. This banana tree came with the house. When we had it in Alabama, this was right up against the house, and the the previous owner said I could have the trees. So I dug them up, put them in a big tub, and brought them down here to Florida. And it was a little bit rough getting through the winter, but they made it. I put them in the ground, give them plenty of water, and this is what we have. I know they don't look much like a tree now, but the original growth was about 6 foot tall, and that dried out and died over the winter. And this is this year's new growth. Hopefully, being down here in Florida, it will thrive. Hopefully it doesn't die out completely over the winter, and we'll get some taller ones. The original owner said that they were able to get bananas off of this big one here the first couple years that he had it, when it was 6 and 8 foot tall. But then it stopped producing. I'm thinking maybe because it had harder winters up where it was before. I really don't care if I get bananas off of it or not, but it'd be pretty cool. It's just a pretty tree. This right here is a century plant. It was chopped all up real bad and sitting on the side of the road. I felt sorry for it, so I picked it up, brought it home, trimmed it up nice and clean, put it in the ground, and I kept plenty of water on it. And then of course here recently we had a lot of rain, and it's greened back up a little bit. Of course it's not going to start growing on each leaf out where they chopped it up real bad when they took it out, but in the center here, this new growth here is nice and solid, and that spike right there has come up since I put it in the ground, so it's doing pretty good. These leaves here were up tight against the center and slowly have opened up, so I believe it's doing well. I'm hoping within a year or so it'll start to give me some really nice new growth out of it, and we give it a second chance in life. Its first life was ended on the side of a road, so maybe we can make an improvement for it. As we head down the driveway, there's Old Glory hanging on the tree. By the way, thank you for all who have served. Dusty got that for Jeannie for, I believe it was her birthday or Mother's Day, I can't remember. And now we're going to work our way out here to the road. Now right here we have what is called a saga palm. Saga palm, however you want to pronounce that. This is a little pup that I took off of another larger plant back in the fall at the RV park that I was staying in when I first came to Florida. And I took several of them, but a lot of them didn't make it. I planted a couple over by the memorial bench that's out back I showed you earlier. And then I gave a couple to my brother and a couple to some neighbors. But I think I had 2 of them out here by the road that survived, and then 2 by the memorial bench. This one here is 1. And this is number 2. This one here looks a little bit yellow, but all that is new growth from this year. I clipped all the dead stuff off. So maybe after a couple years we'll have a decent looking plant. Now this here is a small patch of irises. I've collected these irises from different locations in Arkansas, and I brought them with me. I only brought a couple of each instead of the large patch that I had started, and I'm hoping to have gotten some of the better plants. They were not blooming when I dug them up before we left, so we'll see what actually made it here with us. And I believe this one over here is from an original that I brought from Philadelphia, and then I transplanted some into Arkansas, and now I've transplanted some down here into Florida with us. If for some reason out of this patch and this patch over here I do not get the original plant that I was looking for, I'll have to contact my sister or my brother and see if they could send me a couple of the original plants from Philadelphia so I could keep the family plant going. And by the way, this is our squirrel feeding station. I give them peanuts and corn. I think a little stand here that they like to climb up on. And also the crows and the blue jays like to feed out of this also. This is a temporary until I can build them something really nice. We like watching the wildlife, and we like to make sure that they're fed well. So these are the things that we use to feed them. And this over here is a piece of stump that I cut off a large piece. It was in the driveway area. I didn't want it falling down. It was also in the way of trucks coming in and out while we were getting our house set up. But anyway, I put corn and peanuts on top of here, and the squirrels love it. They'll come over here and they'll eat, and we get to watch them from the house. Now, one more thing I'd like to show you is how well the grass is doing. This patch here is part of the original section that I brought in from the sod farm. It was brown and yellow when I put it here, and it's been about 2.5 months now, and it's good and green. I'm actually going to mow that today. And also on this side, the same thing. This is from the original. Now, if you've seen my last video, or maybe the video before last, one of my recent videos was about me getting free sod. Now, this is some of it. And then down along the side of the house here, I can't hardly see. There we go. You see it in the shadow. It's nice and green. And it's starting to blend in with everything else. And then across the backyard, this is the area that I just put down 2 weeks ago, I believe. And I made a video. And that stuff was pretty brown, almost dead when I put it in the ground. But for the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of rain, and it's taken very well. It's greening up. This is another area I'm going to have to mow. And my next area that I'm going to go with when I get some more sod will probably be out in the sandy area out here when I have access to some more free sod. And there's one more thing I'm going to check out. Okay, so I lied. It was not one more thing. This here is my mango trees. I started these from seed. I started those probably back in March or April, and they're getting a little bit root bound in these small pots, so I'm going to have to transplant them into a larger pot. Everything that I've looked at for here in the Panhandle, they recommend you get a couple of years without a freeze. So I'm going to put them in large buckets. That way, if we for some chance have an overnight freeze, I can bring them in the house so they don't get hurt. We all love mangoes, and by what I understand, it's going to take about 3 to 5 years before we could start to get any fruit off of them. So we're going to try it and see how well it works. It'd be really cool if we could get fruit off of trees that we started from seed. And by the way, we ate the mangoes before we got the seed. It's not like I went and bought seeds to start them. I went and bought mangoes, we ate them, and then I dried the seeds and then germinated them. And this here is an update for my hibiscus plant. My hibiscus plant I put in the ground, and within 3 days the deer ate it down to nothing but sticks. The flowers, the leaves, everything. There's no shoots. I figured if I would have left it there another day or two, they would have chewed the sticks down to nothing but dirt. So I was disappointed. I took a shovel, dug it back up, put it in this large pot, put it on the back porch where the deer don't go, and I make sure it has plenty of water. And I did not realize how thirsty a hibiscus plant is. This little tub of water here, we will fill that up every 2 days. And that has turned out to be a very nice plant. So it's just going to be something we keep on the porch. I don't want the deer eating it up anymore. And when we moved down here, I saw a small place that showed that it had bonsai trees. Now, we picked up this little bonsai tree for $20 in the town of Cottondale. And I understand it takes a lot of work to keep these looking good, but we always wanted one. I brought it home, and my son named it Mr. Miyagi. We had it in its original pot for a little bit, and then transplanted it into this desert scene pot. I've had this for many years. I really don't remember where I got it, but I know it was in my shop when we moved. So we loaded it up and brought it with us. Didn't know exactly what I was going to do with it, but when we brought Mr. Miyagi home, we decided that Miyagi needed a new home, new pot to be in. So we transplanted him into this pot here, and we'll see how well we can take care of it. Hopefully he doesn't die on us, because we know nothing about these. We're having to do research as we go. So Mr. Miyagi here is all new to us. And this here is one of the other sago palms I mentioned while we were looking at the ones at the road. It's right by the memorial bench. And this is the other one. And what we have here is a small box of succulents that we brought from Arkansas. I'm really not sure where Jeannie got them. Jeannie is my wife. We put them here in this container, had them sitting on our front porch in Arkansas for a couple of years. And when we moved, we grabbed this whole thing, just brought it with us. Now, there's been times when I thought we were going to lose them all, and then they just come right back. So these are very strong plants. We put it out here by the bench, and I set it on the ground by this tree over here, and it does very well. When I'm finished with the mowing and stuff, then I'll put it back down on the ground, because I don't want the cuttings from me mowing to hurt the plant, so I'm going to leave it up here. So there you have it. There's the update of my garden and the things around the yard. So there you have it. And I may do some more updates on other things as they grow. I'd like to thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.